All right, everyone, let us know what city, what state, what country you're in, because I know we're all over the place. Type it into the chat. Nelson, what do you have for us, buddy?
Yeah. So let me, can I go ahead and share my screen?
Yeah, I think you're
Okay.
able to. If not, let me
Share
know.
screen. Yeah, I got it. Let me know when you guys can see it.
Got you.
Okay, cool. Now I just lost the panel thing, but that's fine. Also, I see there's a Nelson Quest in the chat. That is not me. Apparently, looks like an agent from Arizona. But yeah, I'm going to be doing this webinar. So if you see me talking, that is not me.
Okay.
So, all right. So, guys, thank you for joining. We actually had a huge number of people register for this webinar, a little over 1,000, which is cool. So we'll see how many actually show up. I've been working on this presentation for a full month. We've been, as a company, my company Agent Fire, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But when this NAR settlement came in, and there's a lot of stuff that's still up in the air in terms of like we still kind of don't know where everything is going to fall. If you guys have been following Lab Code Agents, Tristan has been doing a great series of webinars. I pretty much every time he does a webinar on the NAR settlement ramifications and kind of what's new in the news. I think Tristan, your co-hosts are Saul, and there's another one that you have on there.
Yeah, ex-attorney for CAR and president of the San Diego MLS. Yep.
Yeah, those are fantastic. Those have basically been how I've been following the developments on the settlements, just watching those webinars. So, but there's a lot of stuff that's still kind of up in the air when it comes to like what is the big opportunity from this this settlement, right? And so let's move to the next slide here. So if you guys follow any of the big influencers or coaches, Tom Ferry, Mark Davidson from 1000 Watt has been super vocal on this. Brian Boero, Brian Buffini, Gary Keller. Pretty much everyone is drawing. There is like one conclusion that we can make definitively right now, right? And that is that what is the key opportunity we can take away from the NAR settlement? That is a repeat of the quotes from the guys. You must clearly showcase your value and unique skills to win business, right? And so, because what this settlement has done is in the minds of consumers, it's made them like really question the value of real estate agents. And that's true on the buy side, and a lot of agents tend to focus more on the buy side, right? Because now if you're a consumer, you're going to be paying a buyer commission, you're sure as hell going to be vetting out that agent. But even on the sell side, like this settlement has had just massive ripples throughout the entire industry, where people are just, people are always asking, is it worth it to pay a real estate agent? There's technologies that are coming out all the time that are trying to basically replace real estate agents. And we know that they haven't had much success because there's so much that you guys do. And so for me, the one clear conclusion from this settlement is that you can't just expect to be an awesome agent and not pay attention to how you're being perceived online, which is exactly how consumers are going to be vetting you out. You have to take control. You have to demonstrate your expertise, demonstrate that you are the undisputed hyperlocal authority in your specific market. You must clearly articulate the skills and the value that you bring to the table, because consumers are going to be vetting you out. I mean, if you think about it, we live in an age where I'm sure everyone here uses Amazon Prime. If you buy a toothpaste, right? And toothpaste is like what, $3, $4, $5. You're probably going to read reviews before buying a toothpaste. You're probably going to compare a couple of different toothpastes. Now imagine what you're going to do when it comes to choosing the agent that's going to represent you in what is going to be one of the most important financial decisions in your life. You're probably going to spend more time than you would reviewing the reviews for toothpastes, and you probably spend a good amount of time doing that. So hopefully that puts things into perspective a little bit. So I wanted to just give a quick intro. I know Tristan gave an intro at the very beginning, but I wanted to give a more slightly longer intro so that you guys understand that I know what I'm talking about. So I am the CEO and founder of Agent Fire. We founded in 2013. I have a typical entrepreneur story. I started it from a spare room in my parents' house. I didn't hire my first employee till about 5 years in. Right now we have about 70 employees. We've built thousands of sites. I think we do a pretty good job. I mentioned here that I'm fascinated by the intersection of psychology and philosophy. So I'm a big fan of Carl Jung, Nietzsche. I think there's a lot of interesting things that we can extrapolate from that intersection that apply to branding and how you present yourself online. And I'm going to get into some of that stuff today. And hopefully that doesn't make you guys leave, because I know that maybe sounds boring, but I'm gonna communicate this stuff in an interesting way. And it's going to be something different than what you've maybe heard of previously. I am a brand strategy consultant for some of the top I'm actually working right now with two of the top teams in the US. You guys have all heard of them. I'm under a strict NDA where I can't. I think the next team I'm gonna make sure like they can't make me sign an NDA. But I have a lot of experience with branding in particular. If I wasn't doing an agent fire, I'd probably just go all in on some sort of branding venture. I actually have my own YouTube channel. So a little known fact, the one little known fact I'll share today. I live in South America. I live in Medellin, Colombia. And as a side project, I started a YouTube channel, and it became for a while, for 2 years, it was the fastest growing channel in South America. It's got, I think, 300 or 400,000 followers. I haven't uploaded new content in a few years, but yeah, that was a really good opportunity for me to put all of the stuff that I know about branding into application, leverage the stuff that I know to really, I was able to create the perception very early on, even when I had 0 followers, that I was like a big deal, that this channel was a big thing, that you had to kind of get on the boat. And I'll be talking about those sort of strategies in today's webinar. And I think you guys will really enjoy that stuff. You can check me out on Nelson Quest, at Nelson Quest on Instagram. And the last thing I'll mention is I just became a father last Thursday. You can see actually my little girl and my little boy. Hopefully they'll both be home this week. It's Atlas and Eva. And so, yeah, haven't slept much since last Thursday, but I feel great and yeah, ready to deliver for you guys today. I want to introduce Jeff Bray. So Jeff is going to be the main subject matter of today's webinar. I could talk about Jeff, but I'd actually love for Jeff to take over and talk about himself.
Well, thanks. And by the way, thank you and congratulations again on your kids. You don't look like you just had twins. I'll tell you that. You look a lot better than that. Yeah, I'm a brand new realtor. I got, when everyone was stuck in their house during COVID, I just went down the rabbit hole of YouTube. And I always, for some reason, I loved when we bought houses, my wife and I, we bought houses, and lived with them, of course, and everything else. And then it really interested me when I would deal with different people. Some were really good realtors that I learned from, and that I really learned about housing from them. And then some realtors I worked with that I was doing the work. I was doing not advising, but I was the one who was saying, hey, why don't we offer this, or why don't we say that? And so it got to the point where during COVID, I was bored out of my mind, and I loved watching things on YouTube. And I just said, you know what? I really want to try something new, because I was in marketing before. So I knew that if I was going to get into real estate, I'd have to market myself. Now, so the first dollar I spent, and I studied everyone. I went to everyone's website for looking to say, because I knew I needed a website, right? Being a marketing person, I knew that would be my 24/7. Before they knew me, they would often see a website. So I wanted to make it the best website. So I took calls with everyone, and I was just super impressed with what Agent Fire did. And they weren't absolutely the most charismatic. When I met with them, they were just really just data driven. And that's honestly what I wanted. I didn't want to be impressed. I wanted to be in awe of what they could accomplish and the data they could give me. So that is why I picked Agent Fire. And I'm so happy that I did, because the first dollar I spent in real estate was for my website. Now, I had to make up, they said, hey, now we need people to we need reviews and everything else. And I hadn't sold a single house. I hadn't sold a house. So I had to email my friends that I did business with in the past and said, hey, will you write this for me? And just say that Jeff always returns phone calls. Jeff works 24/7. Jeff actually cares about his clients, and don't mention anything about real estate, because that would be a lie. So I would actually take that and put it on my website. So that's how new I was. I never sold a house before. And so, and when that happened, I I had a website before I even got licensed. So I was taking a course, waiting to get licensed, got licensed. And then after, obviously, I got licensed, and we put it online. And it was, I guess, I know this sounds corny to say, but it was like a suit of armor. It was like a protection for me. It gave me the ability, honestly, to fake it before I made it. And it gave me the ability to walk in and talk to people and talk to other people and lead with oasisgroupfl.com. Check us out. Check us out. Google us. You know, it was my wife and I. And I'm not part of a team. It's just my wife and I and my son. And it was just something that gave me that confidence. It was like wearing like a fantastic suit or having that great car before you go into, you know, to meet with someone. I didn't have the great car, didn't have the great suit, but I had a fantastic website that led for me. And that gave me such incredible confidence and that's why, you know, when every once in a while we would, Nelson and I call him, and when a good deal would happen, strictly because of the website, I'd text him or I call him, and then Nelson's like, "Hey, would you want to share it?" I'm like, "Yeah," but I didn't think it would, you know. But and I just really want to, like, if you're thinking about doing something, always, and it doesn't matter who you end up going with, just get someone who actually cares, get someone who actually can just do the work and give you the data and make you look the best possible, because you need to put your best foot forward, you know, especially with this new NAR thing. I mean, I had incredible confidence knowing that I could take someone and say, "Hey, Google me. Hey, go to my website, check out my website." And it really, what it did, it legitimized me before I was actually legitimate. So I'm very thankful.
Yeah, I'll just mention too. So Jeff is like this. Like, Jeff has an incredible personality. That's a big part of the reason he's had a lot of success in real estate as well. And Jeff, I want to also mention too that Jeff, like, we're not paying Jeff to do this. Jeff is like this all the time. So I'm the kind of person where I personally I don't. I mean, I like compliments. They just make me uncomfortable when someone's being like just really thankful to me. And Jeff is, yeah, he's just been.
So can I tell you the story that made you cringe? Because we were talking and you actually cringed when I told you, but it was such a cool thing. So I met this person. It was a daughter and a father, and it was a lead of mine, and we were showing $1 million house, and I was over the moon. I thought that was fantastic. I was so excited. So in the midst of showing them this house, I turned to them and said, "Oh, so what's your time frame?" And she said, "Oh, I have to sell my dad's house. My dad has to sell his house first." And I went, "Oh," and then ding, 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 you know, and I go into say, "Hey, you know, we can help you with that. Like, I can help you with that." And she's like, instantly just literally put her hand up and said, "No, I've worked with someone like 5 or 6 times in the past. She's awesome. And no, not needed." Well, I was disappointed for like 10 seconds, but I still was in a home with her worth $1 million. So I wasn't going to let that get to me. So no problem. So we end the meeting, and she goes, "Hey, I want to see this again tomorrow." I said, "Great. What time?" And she goes, 10 o'clock. I said, "Excellent. I'll be here at 10 o'clock. I made the appointment. They accepted. And then all of a sudden at like 9:45, I was sitting there waiting in my car. I get out of my car when they pull up. She gets out of the car and she points right at me. She goes, "You're going to sell my father's house." And I was like, "Great. Great. You're great. Yeah, great." And I was like, that's awesome. "Yeah, no, we can come over today." And yeah, great. And all of a sudden, and I go, "Yeah." She goes, "I was on your website all night last night." And I went, "Oh, great. And she's like, "Yeah, I love it. It was all this great information, and it was really cool. And I've went to other websites with other realtors, and it was just like, yeah, they're nice, but you actually educated me. Like, I learned something from your website." And I'm like, right. And I'm just shocked that she's so effusive with her praise. And I'm like, absolutely. And then she tells me what the address is, and I write it down. And of course, I don't have time to research it. So we go into the house, and then after she really likes the house, we ended up putting an offer on it, and it didn't get accepted. But in the meantime, we went home, and before we put in the offer, I put in the house, and I ran a quick CMA on it, and it was $2.3 million. And I was like, oh my God. Literally, I emailed and I said, Tristan, I know you, I know you just, this is, I have to brag to somebody, and you're the owner, so I'm going to do this. And so he called me and he goes, are you for real? I go, yeah. He goes, dude. And then Tristan, it was wild. Nelson goes, yeah, that happens all the time. I go, it sure as hell doesn't happen to me. I go, it sure as hell doesn't happen to me. So, and he kind of cringed because I was like so excited. We got the listing. We actually sold it for 2.2. You could see it on Zillow. Wow. And it was strictly 100% based not on me, not on my wife, strictly on the website, strictly on the website. And that really changed my career and fast, and then I was able to invest that money in my business. And that, having that cushion of selling the 2.2, at 3 points, that's a lot of money. So that was great for me and my family. And every time I brought it up to him, I brought it up to him twice before, and he just kind of, he doesn't take compliments well, but I tell you what, I take sales well. And I was so happy about it. So.
Jeff, I have a question really quick.
Sure.
What do you think the differentiating factor is on your website, or at the time where this person came through and like, this is the person I'm going to use? What stood out for them that you learned from that?
I think it was and by the way, it wasn't me. It was Agent Fire. Agent Fire did everything. I just said, hey, this is where I live. This is my farm area. And they actually did all the research for me. They came up with the numbers. What differentiated me was the fact that you go on my website and it says, hey, do you want to learn about being an effective seller? Here it is. Just put in your information and it emails it to them directly. And that's,
I'm actually, so today's webinar, we're going to go through like pretty much line by line, all of the most important aspects of Jeff's website that he leverages into pretty much every communication. That's why Jeff is pretty much my favorite client at Agent Fire, because first of all, he started with us when he was a brand new agent. So we had to essentially, like he talked about, we had to fabricate social proof, right? He was getting reviews from friends and family, and we were using that to kind of social proof on his website. I'm about to go through the website in a second. I also want to stress too that, I am the owner of Agent Fire, but today's webinar, we're going to be focusing on stuff that really applies. I mean, regardless of, who you're using for your website, if you're setting up a website on WordPress, you're going to be able to leverage this stuff. Last thing I want to mention is, and I was very against this, but Jeff insisted that he put his contact information in the webinar. I told him, I'm like, man, there's over 1,000 people that have registered, and he was extremely insistent. So if you guys want to reach out to Jeff, if you have questions, he's like this, like, if you're out of this webinar, you're talking to Jeff, he's exactly like you're seeing him right now. So he's super friendly. He picks up his phone. There's never been a time I've called him and he hasn't, maybe one time because he was at a showing, but other than that, he pretty much picks up his phone after, if it gets to 2 rings, that's just doesn't happen a lot. So yeah, you guys are free to reach out to him, and Jeff, yeah, good luck, man. Sorry. Hope,
no, I want people to call me. People call me now, about my website all the time, but I want people to call me because I want to tell them how it changed my life. And yeah. I didn't, like, I want to be clear. I sent you pictures. That's all I did. You did everything else on my website. You were like, hey, I need pictures for this, that, and the other.
Jeff gave us a minimal amount of content. And so, which by the way, I would not recommend.
Don't make me look stupid now.
I would really, especially, if you guys are, again, building the website with a template or working with someone, really, like, you want to take the time, especially when it comes to your about page, your buyer and seller pages. We're going to go through some examples in a second, but you really want to take the time to just give as many inputs as you possibly can so that, however you're getting this website built, they have enough information to really be able to, again, just effectively communicate, because this website is going to be, you're going to be able to use it, before any sort of major redesign for maybe 3 years, 4 years. And you can leverage it. And this is, again, why I love working with Jeff, is because he leverages his website in every single interaction, every single communication. He doesn't hang up the phone without mentioning to people to go to his website, maybe to go to a specific page in his website, or to check out the area guides in his website, or, depending on what the nature of the conversation is, he has some sort of thing on his website to be able to send people to it and be able to just leverage that to create immediate social proof, immediate authority. And again, we're going to go through this stuff in a second. So I did want to spend just a couple of minutes just talking about brand in general, right? Because we did a custom brand. We did a custom brand for Jeff. I don't know if I made this clear, but Jeff originally signed up with us 3 years ago. When the NAR settlement came in, I said to myself, okay, like this value thing is going to be a big deal. We have to completely rethink the way that we're doing websites, right? IDX search is going to be minimal. Now it's more about your about page, your buyer page, your seller page, maybe your relocation page. And so we actually kind of used Jeff's website to develop a formula that we now use for all of our websites. And internally, we call it like our post-NAR settlement formula. You guys will see it's referred to as blueprint, which I'll talk about in a second. But so when it comes to your brand in general, right? You don't necessarily need a brand before you set up a website or an online presence. But from my perspective, it's really silly not to, right? Because, and there's a lot of definitions for brand. I think Jeff Bezos probably has my favorite, which is your brand is what people say about you or your company when you're not in the room. And for me, your brand is just kind of like the entire perception that someone has of you, right? So that's like the visual perception they have of you. That's the emotional, how you make them feel. That's your level of professionalism. It's just, it's a sort of an all encapsulating thing. And so for me, if you're going to be setting up a web presence, you really should invest in a brand, right? And you don't need to do that with my company or with Agent Fire. 95% of the agents that I see signing up for Agent Fire, they would be well served to just go to Fiverr and spend even $100 or $200 would be a significant step up over what they normally come to us with, which is no sort of brand, right? No colors or messaging or anything like that. They usually just have a logo where it's got a roof or a key. How many of you guys have a logo with a roof or a key in it? And this is something that
I used to.
Nah, well, shame on you, Tristan.
I know, it's terrible.
How dare you? So, yeah, and that's just a misconception, right? Because, when you put a roof or a key, that's because you have this desire to want your logo to communicate real estate. And really, what your logo should communicate is more so like your level of professionalism, and it should reflect the demographic that you're targeting, right? So let's just go through Jeff's stuff and I'll flesh that out a little bit more. Where's Jeff's stuff? You guys can see all my private files in my Dropbox while I find this. Hopefully nothing too bad. All right. So here's the brand guide that we created for Jeff. The first thing you'll notice is there is no key or no roof anywhere in his visual logo. For me, again, your brand is an all-encompassing thing. So it starts with a statement, right? And this is especially important in the age of AI, where now if you develop, like if you guys take the time to think about the main words that you want your brand to consist of, the main sort of emotions you want your brand to communicate, then every time you go to write an email or you need to write some copy for something, I mean, you can literally just copy and paste the stuff into ChatGPT, and now it knows the exact persona that it needs to mimic when it's writing this content. Right. So for me, like your brand messaging and your core values is actually now more important than ever. It's more important than ever in this age of AI. Next thing is you want to try to find some images that represent your target market, right? So when I say images, I'm talking about the type of real estate, maybe the type of cars, the type of some geographic stuff. Make sure all of these images have the sort of colors that you feel best represent your target demographic. Jeff is in Sarasota, Florida, right? So he's got some, when you think Sarasota, you probably think like greens and blues. So we wanted to use like a luxury blue color. In terms of the actual visual look of Oasis Group and the visual look of his logo, you'll notice a lot of high-end franchises. So, for his logo, I think we drew some inspiration from luxury fashion and handbags. If you notice, like his actual logo mark, I'll try to find that in a second, but his actual logo mark is very similar to what are those like Louis Vuitton bags that they have that pattern. So anyway, you guys will see that in a second. We also drew some inspiration from like 5-star hotels. So we wanted the logo to look like a luxury hotel, and he's working with clients that are, the average property value in Sarasota Sarasota, by the way, is one of the most competitive markets in the US. So extra props to Jeff for starting out as a new agent there and crushing it so quickly. But he's working with a clientele that is, they're looking at million and up properties. And so they probably spent time at some point at a 5-star hotel. And we wanted to create that same experience, because if you've been to a 5-star hotel, I wouldn't spend my own money on a 5-star hotel, but Agent Fire has tons of expenses. I get a ton of credit card points. I get to stay at 5-star hotels using those credit card points. And the experience you get at these hotels, it's like, I mean, they just every possible thing you could want. You just think of something you may want, and it's like someone appears with white gloves to hand it to you. And that's kind of what we wanted Jeff's brand to represent. And then a brand is also going to just make it clear, like, how you should be using your brand in all of the different places that you exist online, right? So on your Facebook page, on your socials, it's going to define your fonts. You can play around a little bit, like, so with Jeff, we've got his text-based logo, right? And then we also got this flower design that we did. This is what I was talking about. That's very similar to the what are those handbags that have that like, I think it's Louis Vuitton that has that pattern, or maybe it's Burberry. It's like a very famous pattern that everyone, if you see it, you immediately recognize. I think it's Burberry. I'm not into fashion brands, but so when you have a cohesive brand, it's going to define your messaging. It's going to define visually how you appear everywhere that you exist online, and it's just going to tie your whole your whole aura together. Hopefully, that's making sense. So I think we're good on the brand stuff.
So wait, hold on, Nelson. Can I tell you what you did in order to get that though? You sent me a questionnaire, and my wife and I a questionnaire. What are your thoughts? Who is your client? Who's the client that you want? Who's the client that, like, what do you see your brand being? And then my wife literally said Louis Vuitton, Gucci, so she mentioned like the high-end stuff, and that's why it ended up like that. So if you do that with other people, they'll just ask you'll ask them a set of questions, they'll answer it, and you'll come up with a brand that matches the answers that they gave. And I found that, like, I didn't send you anything, I just answered questions that you had. And it was like 2 pages of questions. They're all super simple, but it led to that. And when we got it, it was like, that's awesome. And so it was neat.
Thanks, man. Yeah, actually, I have a separate project. I'll talk about it at the end of the webinar. It's called Sold Pixel. So, because right now I think there's a big need for branding services in the real estate industry. And if you're going to go through the options that are available right now, start in the 5 or 6 figures. Maybe you guys have heard of 1,000 Watt. They're probably my favorite branding company. They just recently did the brand redesign for First Team. I think they did a fantastic job. And so I'm trying to do branding for the masses, branding for the real estate masses. But I'll talk about that at the end of the webinar. And I want to, again, stress that even if you go to Fiverr and spend, even $100, frankly, for most of the stuff that I see people sending in for their existing logo and their non-existent brand, even $100 is going to be a pretty significant upgrade from where most agents are at right now. So, but yeah, I'll talk about that towards the end of the webinar. So anyway, that's kind of my little spiel on just the brand itself. Now let's actually dive into the website that we built for Jeff. And again, I want to stress, I mentioned a few minutes ago, I talked about Blueprint. When the NAR settlement came in and we saw that, the big opportunity was just, really taking control of your online perception and making sure that you're articulating your hyperlocal mastery, the skills and value that you bring to the table, and just all of that. That's kind of the basis through which we built Jeff's website. And we actually built a 21-point visual checklist that's now the standard that we use for every website we build here at Agent Fire. Everyone that's here at this webinar, we'll just, in the follow-up email, we'll send the recording of this webinar, and I'll send you guys a copy of Blueprint. Again, you can use that if you're building a site yourself. There's going to be stuff in there that you're going to be able to leverage. It's going to really open your eyes to like what an effective real estate website should have in this post-NAR era, right? So let's dive in. So in this webinar, Blueprint is 21 points. And this webinar, we're going to just quickly go through, I say in this webinar, which started 32 minutes ago, we're going to quickly go through 15 of the key points that we implemented into Jeff's website design, right? So first is just like a clean menu, right? So if you look at his website here, we've got only 4 items here on the top. We do have one drop down, and then there's a hamburger menu here. I can't tell you how many agents sign up with Agent Fire, and they want, if you go to most agent websites, I'm going to say 90+% of agent websites, you're going to see like 10+ links just right in the header of the website. And so all that ends up doing is creating confusion. It's not, people are just lost when they go to the website, and you're not giving the proper priority to the pages that you want people to visit. So with Jeff's website, we kept the menu really simple, just area guides, client success, services, right, which has his buyer and seller pages, which we're going to talk about in a second, relocation, VIP home search, we'll talk about as well, home valuation, which he leverages a lot in his email communication to get people to fill that out. And then why choose Oasis, which we're going to talk about in a second as well. Now, if you guys have a lot of additional pages on your website, and especially if you guys are using email communication and you're leveraging the website in your communications, you do want to have additional pages, right? You're going to have your listings on your website. You're going to have maybe some landing pages on your website. You can just store those in a nice little hamburger menu, which looks like this, you know? So, but in terms of just the main menu that people get when they first visit your site, you know, for me, 4 items maximum is what you should have there. And by the way, these slides they have a lot of text on them. Again, we're going to send this after the webinar, so if you guys want to go through this in more detail, you can. I'm just going to quickly, you know, go through each one. Number 2, so limit your homepage hero to 1 to 2 clear call to actions. So this is another big thing for me is agents don't understand the importance of just like when someone comes to your website, they're probably on your website to vet you out, and you want to navigate them. You want to like really forcefully try to get them to the page that you want them to be seeing, right? So in Jeff's case, you know, we had just 2 main call to actions that we're trying to push people to, right? It's either buying a home or selling a home. I should mention that Jeff also does a lot of relocation business. And so we do have that as a page, but Jeff's leveraging that more in just his communications with people. One of Jeff's big strategies is he just buys leads off of Zillow and sends them to his website. And that's another reason I like doing a webinar with Jeff and talking about Jeff, is because like he's not, and I wish he was. He also make that clear too. He's not setting up complex CRM automations. I don't think he's ever used ChatGPT. Like he's literally just buying leads off of Zillow, sending them to his website, and that's how he's on pace to do $1 million this year in business. You guys can do this.
Hold on, but you set me up that it drops into my CRM. So every lead
he's got to see. I think he's using Lofty CRM. Right. He's using a CRM, but I'm pretty sure he doesn't. I mean, do you have any like complex CRM automations? Do you have any drip emails that people are getting when they?
I do. I send some stuff.
Okay.
I
should give you more credit.
I am not. Yeah, I'm not a moron, but I'm not an expert either. So I'm a good happy medium, right, Tristan?
Right.
Good.
Oh, dude, sounds good to me, man. You're making it rain. So.
All right, I gotta give.
And it's not just Zillow. Zillow's too expensive. It's not just Zillow. So.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Sorry. So in terms of the homepage, again, you want to make your call to actions is really nice and clear. So again, we got, you know, buying a home, selling a home are kind of the main calls to action. Feature social proof prominently to build trust. So this is my favorite thing to talk about when we're talking about Jeff in particular, because again, when he came to us, he literally had 0 social proof, and then very quickly, within a couple of months, he got 1 social proof, which was, and I mentioned Jeff is, you know, he's so good on the phone, and he's such a, you know, he really tries to help people. And so he got an award from Zillow, basically top 1% in customer service and satisfaction. So this is the 1 main social proof. We use this in his previous website. We use this now in his new website. This is like, you know, there's some agent websites you go and you see they're you know, tons of sales and transactional volume. They're using that as social proof. Like this is the 1 social proof we use on Jeff's website. And people see this, people see top 1%, people see nationwide. And that just, it's really, really powerful. Maybe even more powerful than some really impressive transaction numbers or stuff like that. So this is like the single social proof that we've used on his website for the past 3 years that has it's done a lot of lifting for us.
Yeah, and by the way, I just want to clarify, because how I got that is, and I'll be honest, I lead with my website that gives value, and so people instantly think that I'm better than I am, because of my website. So I lead with my website, and I always call people back. So those two things have made me #1 in the country, top 1% in the country by Zillow, and just calling people back and leading with my website, because it leads with value, because I give something. So I give information.
Yeah. Thanks, Jeff. And so number 4 is just make it easy to contact you on every page. This is another thing I see a lot of websites suffer from is when the consumer is, they've gone to your website, they've maybe done a little bit of vetting, they're ready to contact you, and it's not apparent, it's not evidently apparent like where or how they can contact you. So in Jeff's case, this is the primary CTA that we're featuring in the menu. As you go through this, I mean, any page that you go through on his website, it's going to have a contact us CTA that's personalized to that specific page. And we've got a Calendly link here in the bottom right. But you always want to make it just super easy to contact you. And you also want to have multiple ways to contact you. So not everyone wants to necessarily hop on the phone with you. So you definitely want to give people the option to text you. You want to give people the option to email you. And you just want to make that very easy. If we go to his contact page, you'll actually see all of the different ways you can reach Jeff. You can even fill out a form on his website, but give him lots of options. Number 5 is to highlight area pages to establish local expertise. So I did want to spend a little time on this, right? So let's scroll down on his homepage, and you can see there's a call to action to his why choose Oasis page, or his about page. And then the very next section is this click map, right? And so this accomplishes a couple of things. One is it gets a tremendous amount of value to people visiting his website, right? Because unlike Zillow, which is a more like broad-based type experience, you're not going to get like a niche experience on Zillow. And frankly, you're not going to get a niche experience on most real estate agent websites. When you have area pages on your site, and you have a nice map like this, and we'll go into those pages in a second, but what you're doing is you're providing value, but you're also like simultaneously demonstrating that you are the expert in this specific area. And that's really powerful. When we go into these area pages, you can see, so this is our Agent Fire's area guide system. But you want to have a short description of the area, especially with AI. There's no reason to not have a short description. In Jeff's case, not only do we have descriptions of each of these areas, but we've also, again, leveraged his brand messaging to make sure that they're written like they sound, everything is just consistent with his brand, right? This is actually, it looks like a custom area page. This is actually my first time looking at this page, believe it or not. I just queued it up for this webinar today. You don't have listings on there, of course. We've got automated market reports as part of our area pages. We've got an integration with Yelp, so we can actually feature top local businesses. These can actually be customized.
And Nelson, that is really important, because I tell people, hey, listen, if you want to know about restaurants, go to my website. If you want to know about nail salons or hair salons, go to my website. And they're like, what do you mean? You sell real estate? I go, yeah, I have Yelp there, and you can Google me, get on there and find everything. And so that is powerful.
And you can actually customize these. So we could very easily change this to Jeff's top picks. Jeff could actually go in and curate his favorite restaurants, drink places, shopping, coffee places. And then when he's having conversations with people about a specific area, he can say, oh man, you looking for restaurants in Anna Maria Island? Check out this page on my website, and just link it via a text or something like that. And it'll literally just be his top picks right there on the page. And so, and then this is the sort of stuff that I really geek out on, because you're going so much further than just the bland generic experience that most people are getting everywhere else. And you're getting so deep into the hyperlocal, and you're creating a tool that you're going to be able to leverage in every single communication interaction that you have. That should be your goal when you're creating a website, is like, man, how can I use this thing? And every conversation I have, a lot of the people that I'm speaking with, they don't know me, or maybe they don't think of me the way that I want them to think about me, right? I want them to see me as like the authority in this area. I want to see me as the hyperlocal expert. And so when you're like setting out to build a website, build an online presence, think about creating stuff that you're going to be able to just leverage, potentially indefinitely in all of those communications. And then we've got a local news.
So Jeff, I have website envy now. I don't like you as much as I liked you at the beginning now. I'm joking. I want
What,
this, Nelson.
so I'd
This
love to take
one.
credit for this. I'd love to take credit for this, but it's 100% them. Literally, all they did was ask me for my bio, my wife's bio, and my son's bio. That's literally all.
Which I want to stress, I don't recommend. Take the time. Don't be like Jeff. Fill out, give us more information, because then we'll give, just give us a minimal amount of information. Especially now in this age of AI, we're going to be able to take it and create a lot of good stuff for you. But yeah, Jeff, and I'm obviously being a little sarcastic. Jeff's been great, and every time we reach out to him, we say, "Hey, Jeff, come on, man, give me a little bit more for this buyer page." He's been helpful. So so local news and device. So this is actually just related blog posts that are related to the area. I think we have these posts feeding onto most of his area pages. We actually have an add-on where we publish really high quality blogs a couple of times a month, and then we just have them set up to go to his area pages. And then finally, there's a call to action at the bottom to contact us. So for me, these are some of the really good ingredients to have on an area page. If you look at most area pages that people set up, they don't really spend a lot of time on them. It's typically just some listings. And again, anything you can do to just go a little bit further, where you're not giving people that are visiting your website that generic experience that they're used to like everywhere else. Your website is your opportunity to just go a little bit deeper and give people that unique hyperlocal experience that they're not going to find anywhere else. So anyway, that's an example of an area page that I think is fantastic. Add engaging conversational CTAs on every page. So I'm actually not sure if I'm going to be able to show this off, because I think I would need to visit a site on incognito. Anyway, we have a tool at Agent Fire called Engage CTA. And so basically, in a nutshell, if someone's on a seller page, you don't want to target them with a buyer type call to action. And you definitely don't want to target people with generic calls to action. If you look at most real estate websites, most of them don't have call to actions, right? So when I say call to action, I'm talking about like something that pops up onto the screen with additional value that's trying to capture a lead. If someone's on a seller page, maybe you want to hit them with a home valuation call to action, but don't word it generic. Don't just say free home valuation, click here. Try to word it a little bit differently. What is your Sarasota, or want to know what your Sarasota home is worth? And then maybe a quick little stat on home values, how they've fluctuated over the last year or a couple of years, because home values are up 10% over the last year. Click here to find out your home's value. There's a lot of, you can do manual home valuations, and you can also do automated home valuations. There's a lot of great services for automated home valuations. I've been hearing a lot about Fellow as a great home valuation service. Agent Fire has an automated home valuation add-on if you guys wanted to check that out. But if you want to just offer a manual valuation, that's great as well. And you will get a lot of people that fill out this stuff if you take the time to make it more personalized. So again, just a CTA that says free home value, click here, is not going to get nearly the amount of interaction that find out what your Sarasota home is worth, and then a little snippet about what's been happening in the market to draw some attention, generate some interest, make it conversational based. And so the same would go for a buyer page. If people are on your blog page, if you have the ability to create unique calls to actions for different pages on your site, you always want the call to action to be personalized, to be in your sort of messaging, to generate interest, to be conversational, and you want it to be specific to the page that people are on. And that may sound like a lot of work, but again, and we're about to go through the most important pages on Jeff's site, but there's not that many pages that are super important on your website. So let's get into some of those. So believe it or not, so we have access to a lot of data here at Agent Fire, and the vast majority of people that visit our sites are not looking for, they're not clicking on search homes, right? They're not looking for IDX search. They're already getting that on Zillow or elsewhere. They're clicking onto your about page, but believe it or not. So with our clients, that is by far the most trafficked page on our sites. And so let me see where. So this is Jeff's about page, right? And so why are they going to your about page, right? Again, it's because they want to vet you out. And so you better make sure, if you're going to spend time on any page on your website, number one page you should be spending time on is your about page. So in Jeff's case, and again, all of the copy on his page has been filtered through AI, through his brand messaging. So anywhere on his site, you're getting the same feel, like it's the same person that wrote everything. So, we got a little blurb here at the top, a CTA to schedule a consultation or to meet our team. Meet our team is also massively, I'm actually not going to cover that in today's webinar, but that is on team websites. That's one of the most visited pages on those websites, the team roster pages. Again, we've got his major social proof here. We've got why you should work with Oasis Group. We've got a little blurb here, another call to action to meet the team or to contact them. Here's his actual team, which will go to individual pages for each member of his team. I want to stress too, it's not so much a traditional team as it is, it's his wife and his son that he's working with. We've got some of his social media stuff, CTA to subscribe to his YouTube channel. He's pretty active on social media, so that's stuff that we want to feature on the about page. Facebook stuff, of course, so now that he's been an agent for a while, it's so important to have big smiling photos with happy clients, and these are great photos that Jeff's taken here, along with some great testimonials. When it comes to testimonials, I see also very often agents they've just got like a wall of testimonials, or maybe it's like a slider of testimonials. You want to pick your best stuff. You want to try to pick the best part of the testimonial. You don't want to feature the whole, maybe a big block of text, right? So you want to just feature the best part of the testimonial, and then just try to make it look like this, honestly. And then we finally,
Jeff, what's the story with the guy with shades and with the big smile?
He's an actor, you wouldn't know him. He's an actor from England, and he's a manager. And then the lady, his wife to the left, is actually a famous actress in England, in the UK. She was on Doctor Who and a whole bunch of other stuff in theater and everything else. So when I would show her houses, if they were from the UK, they were stopped and asked questions. Like, they're like, oh my God, I saw you on TV. Oh my God, I saw you on Doctor Who. Oh my God, I saw you in this. And I was like, what? But great couple. I'm still friends. He texted me actually 10 minutes before we got on this thing, because there's a storm coming, and he goes, please be safe. Yeah, great people. Yeah,
dude, I love that. You could totally tell in that picture. I want all my pictures to be that good.
Yeah, that's definitely the best one by far. And also, that's another big thing too. I'll mention quickly. Whenever you have photos of yourself, make sure you got just a big, I was going to curse, but make sure you got a big grin on your face. You always want to be smiling in photos. I go to a lot of agent websites where it's like they're trying to, looks like they're signing up for a modeling agency. You just want to have a big smile, all right? Because that works towards the know, like, and trust. That's a big thing that Tom Ferry talks about. That should be one of the main goals of your website. And yeah, a big smile, which I also want to stress. I think in my photos in the webinar slides, I'm not smiling. I'm breaking my own rule. I'm very conscious of that. I just haven't had time to take some new photos. My next updated photos will be big smiling photos. So let's keep it moving here. So showcase your unique value with robust buyer and seller pages. So let's go through that, right? So again, your about us, about our team, why work with us is my favorite way to title the about our team page, is the most important. Next up is the buyer and seller pages, right? So on Jeff's buyer page, we got some featured listings here. I'll talk about listings in a second. Just a little bit of blurb about the unique value that Jeff brings to the table. Again, another CTA to call or text us. We've also got his join our VIP properties list, which is essentially just listing notifications, right? But we've just worded it in a way that makes people want to engage with it more. Then we've listed out, again, when you're setting up a website, you always want to bullet point out, like, what is like every unique thing, what is every skill or value that you bring to the table, and then you want to display that nicely on your website. So we've displayed this in a nice, table or grid.
These are all your words, by the way. I really should do that. I just want to be clear. The only thing I did was give you my bios and some pictures, and you did the rest.
Again, take the time. Don't be like Jeff. Take the time. Give more information to whoever's setting up your website.
Wait, I want to be like Jeff. After I see this one, like Jeff, I want to be this.
Well, listen, amazing. I want to be the Jeff in this website. That's because I'm not that good. This website's a lot better than I am, for real.
Great. No. Jeff is awesome. Make no mistake. So Then we got a CTA here. So this is another cool thing. Agent Fire, actually, we have what's called our guide creator tool, and it leverages AI. So you can create, have helpful educational guides that maybe deal with you could create a generalized guide, right? Like a buyer guide or a seller guide, or you can create something more specific to your area, like a Sarasota relocation guide, something like that. So, but these are great to just have on the website, have on your buyer or seller pages. You don't need a guide creator tool to do that necessarily. You could probably just create a blog post and maybe link to that. And again, anytime you're able to impart education on people that are visiting your website, not only are you, like they're feeling indebted to you, but you're also simultaneously demonstrating your expertise, your professionalism. And so these are the sort of things you want to look for, where it's like they're double-sided, where you're giving someone value, but at the same time, you're increasing your like overall brand equity and perception in the eyes of this person. Then we've got, of course, is testimonials again. Social proof is so important to have on the website. And then we've got VIP Home Finder, which is again essentially, what is this? This is for Jeff to be able to set people up for listing notifications. We've just named it a little bit different. Handpicked properties you will love. So again, we're trying to make this a lot more personal, a lot less generic, a lot more conversational, and that's how it gets a lot more interaction. Let's go to the seller page quick, and then we'll go through some of the different important ways to set up listings on your website. And then my favorite part of the webinar, which is a Tom Ferry inspired nosy neighbor campaigns. We're just about to get to that. So here's the seller page. You can see one of the main CTAs here is going to be get your free market analysis. Jeff has a pretty cool program, which is sell, stay, then buy. So essentially, actually, Jeff, you want to just explain that in like 10 seconds?
Sure. Like when things were super hot during COVID, and then even now, you get people and a lot of people have second homes here in Sarasota. So it's a matter of, if you want to sell your house and then stay and lease it back and then buy, and so then I would find you something else. So we would do both ends of that deal. So we would sell it and then we would negotiate a lease back, and we would lease it back for anywhere between a month, 3 months, a year. And then that would give you more time to find the perfect house for you. Because a lot of people don't have that money to put towards their next house. So they actually have to sell their house, have that funds, and then, use that for a down payment, use that to buy the other house.
And what's great about this is not only does it show, so not only is it something just unique to Jeff, right? So this isn't just a standard little blurb about selling your home. It's literally a plan that he's got. He's put a trademark thing here, which I don't know if it's actually a trademark, but certainly makes it look a little bit more authoritative. But what's happening is now Jeff he's just building, again, the perception that he is a professional. He knows what he's doing. He's got his own unique plans if you're going to sell your home with him. How many other agents are talking about just a unique plan on their website? So again, this gives value, and it simultaneously demonstrates his expertise, his professionalism. A CTA to do a home valuation, and just a little bit of blurb. Like again, this whole page is talking about, is highlighting, it's articulating his value and the skills that he brings to the table. And what we offer, so this is very similar to the grid that we set up on his buyer page, which is bullet points. Jeff, I'm going to guess this is stuff that we set up as well too, and you still need to send us actual content for here. So yeah, so Jeff, make sure you send that to us when you get a second. Recently sold listings. So again, when Jeff was new, this section didn't exist. Right now, he's thankfully it didn't exist. We were trying to just don't worry about sold listings. Look at this #1 rated on Zillow. So
and
now,
by the way, that 2.56, it was actually I'll tell you a little bit about that. That was really cool, and that had to do with the website. So I showed him just a lot of land for $56,000, and I exchanged contact information with him. Of course, my website. I lead with my website, and then we had it was okay. It wasn't like a great connection or anything like that, but it was nice. And then all of a sudden, I'd say about a month later, he was like, "Hey, I saw your website. I've got 2 warehouses. Would you be interested in selling the 2 warehouses as one?" And I said, "Absolutely." And that was only because I gave him my website, and he saw that I did other things other than lots, because we just saw an empty lot. And so that was in direct relation to the website. And I want to say before you go off, before we go off to another tangent, I will tell you, when I meet people, when I get these leads, I don't have any connection with them. So I lead with my website, and that I can tell in the way they speak to me and the way they treat me, whether they've seen my website or they have not. And now I'm so attuned to it that if they're just treating me like a little salesman and like whatever, I say, hey, have you taken a chance to see my website? Because it has all this information. And they're like, no. I'm like, yeah, I could tell. And then I can tell on the opposite. I can tell when they have, because they're like, oh, tell me about it. Like, oh, tell me this, tell me that. And they treat me, when they see my website, I'm no longer a salesperson. I'm an advisor. I'm there to advise and help. And so so I'm an advisor when they see the website, and I'm a salesman until they do.
Honestly, Jeff has like tons of these stories. If you guys reach out to him directly, which again, Jeff, I don't think that's a good idea, but you guys can reach out to him via the contact information we had on that slide earlier on. And honestly, he's messaging me all the time with stories like this. He's got a really good one. Ask him about the Chinese land buyer story.
No, that was that one. That was that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was the warehouse.
Okay. He had anyway.
But I got a new one. I got a $3 million one. I'm going to tell at the end.
Okay. Well, yeah, or just I think we're running out of time here, so let's call Jeff if you want to know about the $3 million.
Yeah, we need to interview you. We need to interview you on the podcast. So I texted you, but I'm not sure I got the right number. So text me back when you get a chance.
No, I haven't looked at my phone on purpose. It's literally I've got 18 texts, so I should have turned off my phone. I apologize.
Yeah. So yeah, and let's just go, finishing up the page here quickly. Again, we just got more, here's a seller guide essentially. And again, we wanted to make it more unique. So it's not just, hey, here's my seller's guide. It's, unlocking maximum value from your home sale. And again, Jeff is able to leverage this when he's talking to sellers. He's literally able to leverage this stuff in those direct communications, in those text messages, in those emails. That's what your like a properly set up website should do for you, right? Another CTA, more social proof. Free home valuation is going to be the final CTA on the page. And yeah, let's go into the next slide. I'm going to try to go a little bit quicker now because I know we're coming up on an hour. So showcase your listings with dedicated, I'm going to go really fast through this stuff actually. So showcase your listings with dedicated landing pages. So when you have a listing, you definitely don't want to just be having an IDX page on your website with your listing. You want to set up an actual landing page for the listing so you can see, and this is, you'll find this feature at pretty much, obviously I think Agent Fires is a step above, but most real estate website solutions are going to have some way for you to be able to feature your personal listings on the site. So I'll just scroll through this quickly and you can see, how we've got it featured. Everything is consistent to his brand and his messaging, and you can actually even set this up as a single property landing page. So if he wanted to, he could buy the domain 8253grandshoresdrive.com and forward it to this page. Now, the next thing I want to show you guys is my favorite thing that we've done recently, and we're getting a lot of really good feedback on this from our clients, and that is, and again, you'll hear all the top coaches talking about how important it is to have some sort of like case study, not just the testimonial, right, but an actual case study of the process you went through to sell a listing. What are all the problems that you faced? How did you overcome them? So this is what Tom Ferry calls, and this is very inspired by Tom Ferry, a nosy neighbor lead page. And so we're actually right now developing the ability to quickly turn sold properties on your website into these lead pages, so that each sold property isn't just the property with the photos and all that, but it actually tells the story of how you sold the home. So here's an example of a nosy neighbor page that we set up on Jeff's website. So again, when he's going in and he's on a listing presentation or he's talking to sellers, he's able to send them to a page on his website that has not just like sold properties, but stories of how he sold these listings. So here's the story, right? And then we go through, we have a timeline format. This is exactly what Tom Ferry had recommended. He just didn't have an actual live example of this. He just had the wireframe. And so, initial consultation, listing process, professional photography and virtual tours, so targeted online advertising and open house events, successful close, 185K over asking price, 98 professional photos. Basically, I think you guys can see what's happening here is you're telling the story of how you got this property sold. This is much better than just having sold property pages on your website. And this is the sort of stuff in particular that every top coach and influencer is talking about the importance of having on your websites, having actual case studies on your website that show all of the work that you guys do to sell these properties. So, so I want to quickly talk about IDX, right? So I am like really not a fan of IDX in the modern era because again, the reality is people, if they want to do a home search, they're going to be using Zillow. So I'm not even going to show, I'll show quickly the example on his website, but essentially what we've done here at Agent Fire is we can still have search properties on your website. It probably still is a good idea to have it somewhere, maybe in the hamburger menu on your website. Definitely not in the in the main menu. But now instead of just giving people a generic search experience, we've turned it into VIP home search, where we're asking people to actually describe their dream home. We're leveraging a lot of AI here at Agent Fire. So with our search, we've got natural language search, so you can actually type in, you know, I want a 2-bedroom, 3-bath, and you can type in specific details about the property. And this way, we're creating a more curated experience for the person visiting your website versus a generic experience. And this is something that you can actually leverage, again, in your communications. You know, everything we do at HFR, when we build a new feature, we're thinking, okay, like how can Jeff leverage this in emails he's exchanging with someone or text messages he's exchanging with someone? And so if he wants to get, you know, collect information on the preferences someone has for, you know, for what they want in a property, where they want to live, you can just send people to this page theoretically, and they can enter all the stuff. It'll actually give them a search. It'll sign them up for list notifications with the criteria that they entered, and it'll pass all that information to Jeff in his CRM, which he is using like a good boy, right, Jeff?
Yes.
Which I said at the beginning he wasn't using a CRM. He's using Lofty, and he's got some automation. So good on you, Jeff. So that's you know, that's how, if you're going to have IDX search on your website, that's how you should be presenting it. Is more of a like a value-based, like what is it? Like more of a curated type experience. Same thing for if you're going to be showing properties on your website. So I had an example I wanted to on the screen that I wanted to show, but I think again I want to try to get through this stuff quickly. So if you're going to have listings on your website, why not curate them? So why not curate them around the specific areas? Why not curate them around the specific lifestyles, right? You can see here on the screen, you know, maybe set up listings for active adult. Basically go through, do searches with the criteria that most interest people in your target demographic, and then set those up as like pre-made searches on your website, which again, they're not going to find if they're going to Zillow or if they're going to any other agent's website. And it also simultaneously demonstrates you as an expert in these specific lifestyles or in these specific categories. Create high impact hyperlocal guide. So we actually went over this with the buyer guide and seller guides that we showed on the buyer and seller pages on Jeff's website. So anytime you have an opportunity, definitely a buyer guide and a seller guide at the minimum, maybe an upsizing guide, stuff like that. If you have the opportunity to just take some time to create this stuff, again, you can leverage AI. Agent Fire has our guide creator tool, which leverages AI, and we have a whole bunch of pre-made guides. We have one for upsizing. We have one for downsizing. Create this stuff one time, make it good, make it in your voice, and then you can leverage it anytime you're having a conversation about upsizing or downsizing or just buying or selling. You can leverage these guides in those conversations. So this is not on Jeff's website because he doesn't have a recruitment page, but I highly recommend if you've got a team to build a recruitment page. And that should really be, this should, in addition to the, you know, who we are, buyer and seller pages, if you're a team, this is also going to be one of the most important pages on your website. So let's just take a look quickly at the recruitment page on this website. This is also one of my favorite websites. Join us. So you can see we're just essentially, you know, articulating all of the information we want to communicate to a real estate agent who's considering joining this team on this page, and they're able to use this page anytime they're having a conversation with someone about joining the team. So let's see a lot of the same formatting that we use in the buyer and seller pages, right? So we've got the grid here with the different bullet points, career opportunities, realtors wanted. Anyway, I'll send this information to you guys after the webinar, and you can check out this page. We've got a bunch of other, I know we have a lot of interest in teams about these recruitment pages. And so you can actually just reach out to me directly, nelson@agentfire.com, if you want more examples, and I'm happy to send them to you. The last thing I want to mention, and this is hopefully the most generic part of this whole webinar, is just the importance of mobile optimization. So a lot of agents, as they're setting up their website, they seem to be only focused on the desktop experience, right? Because they're looking at their they're filling out their initial intake forms on a desktop computer. They're reviewing updates on a desktop computer. And yeah, you want the website to look great on desktop, but especially when you consider that consumers are using this website more than anything to vet you out. They're doing this on their phone. If we look at our data, well over 60% of the traffic that's coming to our websites is mobile. And so you just want to make sure that it's really, it should be like mobile first design. Every page should look great on mobile. And yeah, again, I know this is sort of a generic point, but I think it's really important. So I think we're at the end of our webinar here. So I did want to just, first of all, say thank you for anyone that stayed for this full hour. Hopefully there wasn't too much rambling. And I really did spend a lot of time preparing this and trying to build this in a way that would just give you guys a lot of value. Again, regardless if you're setting up your website with AgentFire or whoever, or you're looking at your brand stuff, hopefully there's a lot of stuff here that you've been able to pull from this webinar that yeah, may be new to you, or just may help you better understand how important it is, like your online presence, and how important it is to just take control of that, because we're in a digital first world. We're in a post-NAR settlement world where you may have 100, you may have like thousands of sales under your belt. You may have 20 years of experience, but like people don't know that unless people don't know what you don't tell them, what you're not showing them, right? This is the whole thing with social media, right? It's like, if you look at anyone's Instagram profile, that's not who they are. That's who they want you to see that they are. And that's the mentality that needs to be adopted when it comes to setting up a website and just your entire online presence. If you are a killer agent, you've got tons of business, you're going to kill it if you just take the time to invest in crafting your online persona and presence to be able to effectively communicate those things, and even if you don't have those things, Jeff started as a brand new freaking agent, and he went out and he found some social proof from friends and family. He got that one thing from Zillow, and we've leveraged that as like his main social proof for years, and he's been able to generate a ton of business through his website as a brand new agent in one of the most competitive markets in the entire US. So with all that being said, I did want to, and I know we're already so late, it's been an hour and 10 minutes. I'll say this quickly. AgentFire, when the NAR settlement came down and we saw what was happening in the industry, we saw all the experts talking about the importance of communicating your value online. We took a step back. We decided to completely rebuild our company, rebuild our design processes, rebuild our features. And we wanted to become the definitive post-NAR settlement solution. And so, yeah, we're in the middle right now of a massive relaunch. Essentially, we've completely redone our brand. If you go to our website, you'll see all of the new information about our product and our features and how they're designed to help you communicate your value online, and how everything is now designed for you to be able to take it and leverage it in the communications you're having with buyers and sellers and people who are relocating. So we do have a special offer. It's if you book a demo, and so there's actually, I guess, two offers, right? Because we got some clients on the call, and we've got some potential clients on the call. So if you're a new client, we're extending 20% off any design package, 20% off click maps. So if you guys remember that clickable map we showed on Jeff's website that Tristan was a big fan of, those are click maps. And then also I've got this new company, Soul Pixel. I am offering for a very limited time. I'm not sure, we're losing a lot of money at this price. So I'm not sure how long I'll be able to offer this for, but we're doing 50% off of logo and branding packages. So right now, I think we're going to go to market at 1,000 for logo design and 2,000 for logo plus brand. Right now, you can get that for 500 for logo design and 1,000 for logo plus brand. If you visit agentfire.com, you can, if you want to secure this offer, all you have to do is just book a demo in the next 24 hours. So you can book a demo for next week or 2 weeks from now. As long as you book a demo in the next 24 hours, we will lock you in for this promotion. Regarding the Soul Pixel stuff, you can actually visit soulpixel.com. You'll see a form on the page, but you can also purchase Soul Pixel logo and branding directly through AgentFire. So you can also just visit our pricing page. You'll see we have just today launched. So I'm almost afraid to go to it because I don't know if it's working yet. I'm pretty sure it is, but you can actually build your package now directly through our pricing. So if you hate talking to people and you just wanted to get started, you can actually go through and build your package and sign up directly through the website without necessarily having to talk to anyone. So, and you can use code pre-launch at checkout. Now I mentioned for any existing clients of Agent Fire, so we actually introduced something that you guys are not aware of. It's called loyalty credits. So every month you're with Agent Fire, you get a bunch of credits that you can use in the future towards some custom design or a brand new package. For a lot of you guys, I think after this webinar, hopefully you understand the importance of free pages in particular, right? The why work with us, buyer and seller pages. So maybe you want to take some design time with our team and get those pages a little bit more dialed in. You can use those loyalty credits towards that. And if you wanted to, you've been with us for a few years, you wanted to get a new design package, you can combine your loyalty credits with this 20% discount. So anyway, thank you guys for joining this webinar. I'm going to go run to the hospital and spend some kangaroo time with my newborn daughter. And yeah, if you guys have any questions as well too, you can email me, nelson@agentfire.com. I had Jeff's contact information at the beginning of the webinar here somewhere. And what else did I want to say? Yeah, and then after this webinar, we will send an email to everyone that was here. I'll send this slide deck. I'll send our blueprint 21-point visual checklist, which you can use anywhere you're building your website. I'll send any information that I think is relevant for you guys. So yeah, thank you so much for attending. I very much appreciate it. Again, feel free to reach out to me directly, nelson@agentfire.com if you have any questions. And I'm off. Jeff, you want to send any parting words?
No, I just want to say, feel free to reach out to me. I'm in Sarasota, Florida, so I'm open for referrals too. So anything I could do to help you guys. I just want to give back to Agent Fire because they've given me so much. So yeah, whenever, just you could text or call, it doesn't matter. Yeah, and I say this all the time, but yeah, Jeff, thank you. You are literally awesome. I don't know. I mean, you're like my favorite client by far, and you've been super helpful to me. I just appreciate everything. So, yep. Thank you guys. Have a great day. And we're just starting this webinar series with Lab Code Agents. So we'll start to do more webinars like this. We have other clients that we'd love to do case studies with. We have partners that we work with for like setting up CRM automation and stuff like that. A lot of really good value stuff. And so if you enjoyed this webinar, hopefully you'll join us on one of the next ones. Thank you guys. Tristan, thank you for joining us, and thank you for being the rock star that you are.